right. Thank you very much for joining me for this session. I have this is the first one out of three. Yes, please don't hesitate to use chat. I think I have mastered the art of chat management in Zoom meetings. And if you have multiple screens, and you work with PowerPoint, gosh, this is an ever evolving tool. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Jarek Janio. I'm the faculty coordinator from School of Continuing Education in Santa Ana College, and I've been talking about AI for quite some time. It's a topic that I suppose, like many of you, I don't define myself as an expert by any means of my imagination. I just like to explore and talk about things. And again, I can't even say that I'm necessarily on the cutting edge of everything that's happening there, and certainly not on the building aspect of it. I'm much of a much more. I think I like to think of myself as a user rather than the designer of the concept, right? So when it comes to AI tools and assessment, this is the topic of the first of the three presentations. I'll be talking about how to design, how to deliver um, immediate instant feedback to students using AI tools. And this is something that I think, since ChatGPT happened, is something that we just take for granted, I suppose, as we've learned how it works. We've been I still am amazed at the power of AI tools such as ChatGPT and other things that are out there that I'll mention briefly. But more importantly, I would like to hear probably from you as to what it is that you're struggling with when it comes to giving feedback to students. And I'll address some of the talking points, and then please, this is not necessarily me talking at you. I invite questions and comments and suggestions. So please don't hesitate to raise your hand and let me know that you would like to speak, and let's go with it. Let's see what the topics are. So when it comes to AI-driven feedback, again, this notion of providing instantaneous, right, just-in-time feedback, I think this is probably the focal point of the discussion. That is just in time, and it's highly, highly personalized. My background is ESL, but I suppose any discipline can relate to the scenario where the teacher, faculty member is standing in the middle of the classroom talking about or delivering the content. I think that's the term that we like to use. This is what faculty do. We deliver content, right? And then let's say there is 30, 50, I don't know how many students. We know as faculty members that as bell curve plays out, it's probably true in our classroom. There is going to be a percentage of students who are just not going to understand the content no matter what we do. And then there is going to be a certain percentage of students who, for whom the content we are delivering, we are talking about, the topics that we are talking about, are just way too easy, way too obvious for them to be even engaged. And then there is the middle of the road classroom where most of the students are. And when we are finished with content delivery, here we are keeping our fingers crossed, hoping that majority of the students got it, right? That they got something out of our instruction. So here we go, ready to go with some type of an assessment. Please, dear students, make sure that you get ready. Thursday at 5 p.m. There's going to be a test. There's going to be some kind of an assessment for you. I'm waiting for you. So now with AI, however, the automated feedback, or the instant feedback that we are capable to provide, is a tool that has never ever been available to us in the history, right? And let's just say that before COVID, face-to-face instruction was a norm rather than online education, and COVID it happened what, 4 or 5 years ago now, right? So that's very abrupt, very quick pace of change, as we know. So when it comes to providing the feedback to students, well, yeah, we could probably start with automated grading system, and I can just tell you, that this is something that again has never been taking place before. ChatGPT, among others, AI-driven tools can they are perfectly capable of analyzing, sifting through, and evaluating tons and tons and tons of data, and that's probably the one of the most impactful notions that comes to mind when I describe the automation of feedback. With that, I think I could probably mention the fact that with ChatGPT, and you don't even have to have the paid subscription, and maybe just let me go ahead and demonstrate this for those of you who are the newbies to the idea. Um, right here is my ChatGPT screen. And when you see here where it says attach files, you can upload any type of file to ChatGPT as long as it's recognizable. And let me see here. I think they even have, there we go. There's even a little button here, analyze data. And for that you can probably use this, right in the spirit of the moment. I mean, this could even happen in a Zoom class, right? Which is something that you can probably, if you were to, let's say, even provide some kind of a SLO assessment with a rubric, send the spreadsheet into the class, students click in and they give you their feedback, and you can have it analyzed and ask ChatGPT questions such as what are the themes, what are the topics, what are the questions, what are the concerns, where are the weaknesses, where are the gaps, where are my students strong, and those questions can be asked and addressed, answered in a spirit of the moment. You just share them with the class. So that's way, way, way before you even get into grading at the end of the semester. The instantaneous feedback is again very, very powerful tool in the faculty hands. I think more importantly, however, is that it really does away with that concept of us trying to address majority of the students in the classroom, right? We are here to give students the just-in-time feedback, which again, AI allows for. So we don't have to be hoping that most of the students are getting it or not. We have specific information, student by student, the instantaneous assessment tape that can assessment results that can happen again with use of a spreadsheet and analyzed by ChatGPT or other tools. When it comes to adaptive learning, the platforms that are out there, again, it's not ChatGPT that's even though in many regards it certainly is growing up to be the king of the universe these days. It's a tool that is being equipped with more and more and more tools and functionalities that were not present months before, and who knows where this is going to take us. I'm not sure if you know this, but the Chat GPT app on your phone. I haven't really tried it on the computer. I'm pretty sure it works when you. Yeah, this is where you can talk. You can provide the feedback by speaking to it, but on the phone now it reacts to you can activate a video part. So as you click on your iPhone app, you can activate the video at the bottom of the screen, and there it is. I mean, I can you can just see it on my phone. You can point it to anything and ask the question as to how do I fix this? What do I do with this? What do you think about this situation? How can you evaluate? And again, what's important, what's not. When it comes to the adaptive learning platforms, this is a specific point that I think I have learned in the last few months. I can't say that it's been, my lifelong experience, but the ability to ask questions that question the status quo, that question the what it is that we've been talking about. See, when it comes to our face-to-face communication or interaction with human beings, we take it for granted. It is assumed that every person that we encounter, we come in touch with, has their limits, right? So there is only so much that I know. There is only so much that each one of you know. We are experts in different fields. Some areas of our knowledge can be better articulated than others. And that's what we have been growing up with. Now we have ChatGPT, this omnipotent, again, king of the hill. I don't want to call it a monster, but let's just say it's an entity that really grows above and beyond our own capacities to know, to express, to articulate what it is that we know. And what happens here, what's important to us, is that we need to have this ability or realization, perhaps, because we certainly have the ability, but we need to realize that now we can question, we can ask questions about the questions. So every time when I do the research with ChatGPT and I think I have it all figured out, whatever the topic is, right? And I do a lot of professional development. I do a lot of thinking, obviously, about student learning outcomes and such. Once I have it all figured out and I have this perfect, what I think is a well-defined text or an argument or PowerPoint presentation, now I ask all those questions that will, the phrase here is what that would shoot holes in it, right? That would try to chip at the argument's might. And this is where ChatGPT comes in so very, very, very handy. Why am I asking a question such as this? What is it? Where are the gaps? Where's the weakness in my argument? If I were to try to destroy this argument, what arguments could I use? And see, in this thinking, all of a sudden I'm becoming much more powerful than I could ever be before. When I think about it, we really don't have a history of questioning the authority in the classroom, right? This has developed, I guess, through millennia of instruction ever since we started teaching anyone anything, right? We have this, let's just say, in the history, you think of thousands of years when humanity started, when people started learning from each other, we had this wise person somewhere on the hill speaking the words of wisdom, and people would travel for forever getting to that place where a lecture would take place, and everyone had to sit down, be very quiet, lest they miss a thought, right, that was articulated. Because in those days, the thought could not be repeated, it cannot be copied, it couldn't be transformed until the invention of writing and then printing press, of course, right? And when you think about it, the printing press is what revolutionized, well, in those days, I'm sure we didn't think about it, but that's the precursor of our asynchronous learning, right? A printed message is a message that could be deciphered, that could be conveyed to people in other places in other times. So with that, AI is doing nothing else but really speeding up the process of communication, the process of getting feedback, and making sure that we are staying on task of what it is that we need to be conveying to our students. Those are the I suppose the underlying principles or assumptions that develop as we communicate what it is that we need to communicate with our students in terms of their skill, competency, attainment, providing feedback, and making sure that students are understanding the topic at hand, the topic that we are discussing with them. So with that, the artificial intelligence powered chatbots, this is something that, again, I don't think it was really available 2 years ago when ChatGPT became a thing. This is something that oh, sorry, I need to go back to my screen, I think, because I would like to make sure that we all have access to the PowerPoint. When it comes to the AI powered chatbots, again, my dear audience, what I would like to point out is that I can't even tell you if there is a specific practice or a tool or an idea that I think I will follow. These things change so very quickly as my thinking and expectations about the use of artificial intelligence in the classroom and as a tool, as a faculty member at the community college change. And I think that's the message that I would like to forward to you. That these days YouTube is definitely your friend. You ask a question in ChatGPT, ask for specific resources that ChatGPT will recommend to address the issue of personal feedback, and then you go to YouTube, and there's just gazillions of resources of people creating videos as we speak that will help you design, and implementing real live chatbots that are going to talk to you, that are going to be talking to your students, that are going to be that you can share with students in as a link, so that students can interact with your with the chatbot instead of you. Now, that obviously has huge implications on what it is that we are doing in the classrooms. The conveying of the content, I suppose, is really becoming all of a sudden secondary in our interactions, because right now, whether we like it or not, it seems like AI is in a position to push the question of why we learn what we learn. What is the relevance of the content that you're sharing with me? What do I need to know it for? Rather than, please sit down, be quiet, pay attention, and trust me, it's going to be good for you. At some point in your life, you're going to take advantage of the information that I'm sharing as a faculty member. The faculty role in the classroom is being challenged. And again, there is ways we combat this. I'll be talking about this in the following sessions. But that's where we are. The instant gratification, the instant response, instant feedback is the strength of AI. We just need to, as faculty, learn how to live with it, take advantage of it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Any comments, obviously. Everybody's okay? Let me see here. Yep. Okay then. So let's take a look at the equity and integrity challenges. As I mentioned earlier, artificial intelligence allows us as faculty to focus on variety of voices in the classrooms, right? It's not just a matter of making sure that I speak proper English for students to understand, or even for students to have the capacity to speak English adequately to understand what I'm saying. These days we can, and as a matter of fact, we probably should, and who knows, maybe multilingual classrooms are the matter of the future as well. And again, this is not the future that we will have to wait for long. ChatGPT right now speaks back to me in a language that I asked the question to in right. So if I want to have a text translated into Vietnamese, then it happens instantaneously. And then if I were to ask a question in that language of ChatGPT, I'm going to get a response, and I can have a conversation. So whatever the topic of the lecture or interaction happens to be, it really makes no difference whatsoever, because the translation can happen instantly. The same thing is happening with even with sign language. There is all kinds of different interpreting devices. And again, ChatGPT is not necessarily the only form. But if translation is your thing, well, there are I think Meta glasses, right? These days provide some translation devices embedded in them. So as you as the languages around you are being picked up, you see the transcript on your glasses, and you can understand the conversation, and you can respond to it. So again, with this technology, we are moving into really a very, very, very quickly into the classroom of what we called classroom of the future, which is classroom of the present. We just don't know the capacity for change and capacity for articulation of our thoughts and tasks that we would like our students to complete. So with that realization, there are questions, there are challenges, there are things that we are struggling to adapt to as we try to incorporate artificial intelligence in our classrooms. And bias in the algorithm is something that comes at us very, very, very quickly, and it really is a topic of many conversations on at least our campuses, and I'm sure that this is true across the spectrum of higher education and in the other disciplines as well. What happens is that we observed that with Google, right? That Google made certain generalizations when it was just nothing but the question and an answer, right, before artificial intelligence happened. And now, when you think about what it is that AI, artificial intelligence tools such as ChatGPT were trained on, are the resources produced by the wealthiest of countries on the planet. So the bias happens to be there embedded already, right, from the start. And the question is, how do we deal with it? So once you realize that this is a problem, and as a matter of fact, I think that realization of the fact that this is a problem is really a solution to the problem. All you really need to do is just open ChatGPT and say, "Hey, buddy, I realize you're biased. How can I address that? What can I do to make sure that the feedback I'm providing to my students is free of that bias?" And probably one of the first answers you're going to get from ChatGPT is that, well, guess what? Your feedback is never free of bias. You will always be biased. So now the question is, how do I mitigate this? Well, that's a different question. It's a more in-depth question, and I think as I mentioned it earlier, question becomes, what do I do, considering that I have the following students in my class? And then again, you will have very, very detailed conversation about what your population is, what they need. If you were to be very serious about it and take it to the next level in your classrooms this semester and perhaps later, it would be really a good idea to make sure that students who are landing in your class are assessed with skills and competencies that they actually possess at the time when you're welcoming them to your class. Because then, you know what can happen? You can actually lead students through skill and competency attainment, just what according to what Vygotsky was saying about the zone of proximal development, right? That we all learn at what it is that we know plus one rate. So this again addresses the issue that I mentioned earlier, that if we are the sages on the stage and we are the only ones who speak to the middle of the class, hoping that most of the students are going to get something out of the lecture, now we can trace development of specific skill and competency attainment as students move in and out of the classroom. So with that in mind, we should be able to again analyze the assessment data to point to the trends in the class and make sure that competencies and skills that we are talking about are addressed at the level that's comprehensible to students. We know this, right? I mean, again, my background is in ESL. We have 6 levels of ESL, and our students are supposed to be moving from the lower to intermediate to advanced levels. We know that this never happens. Life doesn't work that way. There are students who are completely unprepared to take the level of the class that we are teaching, and there are those who find the content very, very, very easy and almost uh, and students are just taking the class because they have to fulfill certain diploma or transfer requirement. So that's considering this, we can and we should create specific rubrics that will identify specific behavior that can be observed, evaluated, and we are going to provide the feedback on what it is that students are doing in the instant when it is being presented. A couple of vendors, if I may. I mean, again, I'm not big on vendors, but then again, Zoom is a vendor, so is Microsoft, so is ChatGPT, right? So we can't really escape those. But the one that I've been using in the past is Feedback Fruits. If you're not familiar with it, then you can look them up. Feedback Fruits is really is a company that it provides for uh, let's just say that whatever the material is that you share with the students can interact with it. So it's really equipped for Canvas, and I think that they already have agreement with the California Community Chancellor's Office for those of you who are in our system, and you can find them in Canvas. If not, they oh, thank you so much, Philip. Really, really appreciate this. So Feedback Fruits is there. And then I don't know if Eddie Lim is here, but he also has a number of tools in Canvas as well that are focused on specific badges and skills and competencies that students attain and they progress through the system, through the classroom. So you can try those, but again, with Feedback Fruits, you can embed a video, and students, as they watch the video, you can ask them to pay attention to certain things. And once students find what those things are, they can comment about them. They can ask about the evaluation. They themselves can use a small chatbot there to ask additional questions. So again, this is just in time feedback, just in time learning. And I tell you, my mind is still spinning as to the role of the faculty in this endeavor. Because again, if I send a link to an activity in Feedback Fruits and students are completely engaged in the activity without any interference from me, I am only the overseer of the content, then look how the world is changing. And unfortunately, as much as I would like to say, hey, put brakes on it, okay, I'm still important, I'm here. Please acknowledge me. I'm in charge of this class. The ship has been sailing, and this train is leaving the station, and I'm really afraid that, well, yes, Jan Cooksey, right? We have a perfect example here. We have a picture of a person moving, seemingly paying attention to what I'm saying. But when you think about it, who knows? Perhaps that's what our education is going to look like in the next well, I don't want to say necessarily months, but I think it actually can happen, that we are going to have our avatars stationed at different workshops, and those avatars are going to be interacting with other avatars in the in the virtual classrooms. And then I, as the person who needs to be learning, acquiring skills and competencies as a result of those interactions, I'll be getting an email with the summaries, and then I can send emails to. Thank you, Jan. I know you're a real person. It's just I really like what you put up there. Um, and then so who knows, that may be the classroom of the future. Again, the issue here is that our current system of education, of course completion, and transfer and all those other things that are happening, we will talk about those later in future sessions as well. But obviously AI seems to be a perfectly equipped tool to demolish practically the system of education as we know it. So thank you again, Jan, for revealing your face, and I didn't mean to pick on you. I just like the picture. Uh, the with the again, the realization that AI tools are trained on the tools that have been made available by. That's right. Thank you. The by the richest countries on the planet. we come to another realization, right, which is the access to AI tools. Now, just so that you know, I can give it as an anecdote, I suppose. A few years back, and it was before COVID, I taught at a, community church or church in Santa Ana that had food bank running in the morning, and my class was sort of like in the middle of all the activities. And the director of the center said that, students who would like to receive their services need to be attending English as a second language class. So I always had a full class. And in the middle of one of the activities, I said something that, with your smartphone, you can probably access things like dictionary.com, and you can find the meaning of the words. And all of a sudden, without me even asking about it, all students, literally 100% of them, produced some kind of a version of a smartphone where dictionary.com was available. Some of them had some data limitations and whatnot, but very, very, very few. So in other words, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that these days we really don't rely on wired phones to make phone calls to the traditional phones that many of us who are old enough to remember them, to save money, right? In a sense that this is not access to a smartphone is where our society is. So considering that that's the fact, and again, I don't want to be bypassing the fact that it may be very challenging to some people to maintain this, but so is maintaining, a car and car insurance for cars, especially in Southern California, United States, right? That again, we don't necessarily always rely on public transportation to get things done. We don't have a choice. We have to rely on a car. And this is true with many other technologies. But if I were to go back to the issue of artificial intelligence, most of ChatGPT functions and other AI tools are available via an app on the smartphone. So as long as you're next to a network that's going to let you log in to intranet and take advantage of those tools, then you're set. Education is yours. And now with ChatGPT, you probably may have heard that, you probably know that ChatGPT has a number of other tiers of access. One of those, the first one, I think, is a $20 a month to subscription. And just, I don't know, about a month ago, they released a $200 a month subscription that allows for much deeper and more profound, more sophisticated interactions with the database of knowledge. If I were to address name ChatGPT that. So the $200 a month subscription obviously is a challenge to a lot of people. $20 a month could be a challenge, but again, for the most part, the least expensive option, which is completely free, is there. The realization, however, how to utilize it, that's a completely different ball game. And now, however, I think that when we instruct our students about the topic at hand, whatever the area of study happens to be in our classrooms, I think that it really is of great importance for us to acknowledge that students have that this immense powerful tool is at their disposal. Now, how to make it work in the classroom? Again, this session is on feedback. I do have a couple more sessions later today that I would like to speak more about how to make those tools available to students for what purpose, and how it changes the realization of what it means, or awareness of what it means to be in the classroom and listen to the professor and follow the course requirements. So faculty role in supporting equity, I think that would be the topic that again, it would probably be best actually discussed with ChatGPT, and then perhaps in an open forum with other faculty members, So as Gillian mentioned in her keynote speaker at the beginning of right at the very end, I'm sorry, of her keynote, there was a question about teachers for Center for Teaching and Learning, right, or teaching and learning centers on our campuses. That probably would be a perfect sphere to address this. And to be honest, as wild as it may sound, what you should probably do is put ChatGPT on a large TV screen in the conference room, or put it on the computer screen as people interact. You come up with talking points, you come up with questions. You can access ChatGPT in real time and just ask questions. As a matter of fact, who knows? It didn't happen last year, even though I thought it would happen by now. In the near future, I don't think we need to be organizing symposia such as this one, even though maybe this is something that we as human beings like to do. But it seems like we are going to be moving into this realm of just-in-time learning more rapidly, which means that, again, I am perfectly capable of asking questions of ChatGPT and come up with talking points for even for this presentation. So this doesn't necessarily have to be all 100% my production. I can ask ChatGPT to give me feedback, to come up with talking points, and then I can perhaps ask the audience to let me know what it is that you think about it. But the idea is that these tools are at my disposal. These tools are available to me. This is what I can use for my benefit and my students. So there's some case studies that I think I could discuss here. Again, considering that we have such a myriad of platforms of classrooms, campuses, expectations, and ideas about what it is and how AI can help us address teaching and learning on our campuses. So first of all, there is the adaptive learning for diverse students. Again, we have students with let's just say with all kinds of different characteristics from all kinds of different backgrounds, right? With AI at our disposal, we just need to be mindful of it, and again, make it available. Closing the door for AI, telling students that, no, sorry, I'm the only person in this universe who can tell you what it is that you need to know in Geography 101. And I'm sorry, I don't mean obviously to pick on geographers or any other discipline, but the point is that students should be made aware of the fact that the best thing that they can do for themselves and everybody else around them is interact with ChatGPT to the extent that they need to understand why they are studying what they are studying, what types of problems they could be solving, what skills and competencies they are getting out of the given content that's delivered by the professor, and how to move it forward, how to make the world a better place, how to benefit from it, not just to complete a course, finish the transfer requirements, but rather what to do with the knowledge, the skills, the competency that they acquired in the course. So for that purpose, the adaptive learning, really the concept of adaptive learning is not going to be limited to only students who require special, specific, and very specific assistance. It's true for everyone. This is like universal design for learning, right? That it made such a difference, has been making such a huge difference in our on our campuses, in online education, in course design, instructional design. This is just a spectacular concept. But again, when you think about it, it's not really a technique. It's not really a method. It's not a way to instruct students. This is an idea whose time has come. We simply have to be mindful of the fact that we have a myriad of needs in our classroom. It's just that now the tables have changed, right? Our points of view have been changing on the topic. We are certainly capable, we have the tools to address the myriad of those needs in our classrooms. When it comes to writing feedback, again, feedback fruits comes to mind. There is Pace AI product that I've been using myself in the in my ESL classrooms. Those are highly interactive platforms that allow students to question the way they write, they question the way they think, the way they compose, the way they create their own, articulate their points. The chatbots, I think, gosh, now when I think about it, by now when I log into my online banking, there is a little chat. I don't know how many of you remember the paperclip that used to be that used to work there with Microsoft Word. Oh gosh, I want to say 1990s. It was already there, but this obviously AI is taking it to a completely different level where a lot of teachers, a lot of faculty are happy to have it because again, I don't have to be telling you everything. If you have any questions, there is the chat, but in Canvas, that feature is just absolutely fantastic. Again, it's just a realization that faculty are bound to give up control of what it is that they are doing in the classroom. They need to learn. We and again, I don't know if I necessarily need to say that we need to do it. This is what's happening for us as faculty, again, is the realization that the control is not ours anymore. That students are there to question reality. They are there to question what it is that we are talking about. They are there to question the context of the class, the purpose, and really asking those questions that lead to new knowledge creation at the top of Bloom's taxonomy. That's what we are after all, right? We don't want our students to be focused on fact recollection. We want them to take what it is that they know to the next level of evaluation, and finally ask questions about reality and question it. When it comes to math feedback systems, at Santa Ana College, at my institutions, we already have the math department, and again, I'm sure that's many that's true on many campuses. Math and physics and STEM fields have always been on the cutting edge of pretty much anything. When you think about it, okay, though, so the calculators came about, the STEM faculty were very happy to see that the question was, how do we apply it in the classroom? Now we have, when it comes to math assessment, okay, I tell you, this is something that's just absolutely blowing my mind still, is that you can write an equation on a napkin, literally on a napkin with a pen, take a picture with ChatGPT, or now you can even video zoom in on it and ask, how do I solve this? And ChatGPT is going to give you step-by-step instructions. As a matter of fact, as a tutor, very useful team thank you, Philip, that you may probably know is Can Canmigo. Um, which is the offshoot from sorry, I misspelled it. I'm talking, but Philip, if you could please fix that, I would certainly appreciate it. Thank you very much. Um, then Canmigo works as a tutor, and you can ask questions such as what is 3 times 7. It's just that Canmigo is not going to tell you it's 21. No. It's going to tell you, what do you think it is? Okay, I think it's 22. Okay, so now we have another thing coming. Let's discuss the concept of multiplication. And again, all of a sudden, instead of students getting frustrated and looking for answers through YouTube videos, ChatGPT, Canmigo, and other tools will provide them with enough feedback to keep them occupied for the rest of their study time. And here's the realization when I actually looked at this idea of providing instant feedback to math problems, which again, in the past was really not quite possible is that of student agency. Student agency or ownership of student learning is the realization that really falls on the is as a responsibility for learning that falls on the shoulders of the students. So I think that our role as faculty is all of a sudden changing to not even motivation in terms of, hey, guess what? You're going to get a B plus if you only finish this last few problems. It's more, what are students supposed to be doing with skills and competencies that they are learning? Why are they learning them? And once we all realize that this is what's happening in the classroom, all of a sudden our roles as faculty members are changing to the point that we are the ones who are going to be sharing with students contexts, methods, systems that can be utilized for students to move their educational attainment of skill and competency to higher levels, to so that students are capable of solving problems at much higher levels than they were able to do before. um, Language learning is pretty much the same vein here. What I have realized with ChatGPT is that, to write any text before ChatGPT came about, I would have to pay an editor, oh, I don't know, $100, $200, $300, depending on the length of the document, to edit the text professionally. And then I would send it to a publication venue that would say, well, sorry, not good enough. This is not our profile. This is missing the boat. This is not articulated very well. Things like that. So, okay, there's a disappointment. I invested time and money, and just to be told no. Now, with ChatGPT, well, guess what? I can write a text in seconds. All I really need to do is put in my thoughts, what it is that I'm thinking about, ask to write a text, and text comes out. And now I can send it practically for free, keeping in mind that I am the one who is the thinker here. That the ChatGPT did not might have written the text, might have articulated it for me, but the thinking there, the ideas are still mine. So ultimately, students need to be exposed to the idea of taking responsibility for the content that they are creating, right? So this is where the idea, where the fear of students cheating on our essays goes away. Because if students need to realize that the content that they are creating is theirs, not chats, then that moves the discussion again away from the teacher, who is the only broker of knowledge in the classroom, to making sure that students know what they are doing. The same thing is for us, for faculty, who are responsible for the content that we are producing, right? Whatever it is that we say. And I tell you, I've seen those in different on different social media. I have seen comments such as, well, if you send me an email that's generated by ChatGPT, then I'm going to trash it instantly. Okay, what am I going to tell you? Are you interested in catching my grammatical mistakes, or are you interested in saying what I have to say? Because if my thinking is articulated better with AI generated tools, why wouldn't I, as a speaker of a second language, take advantage of this material to convey my message better to you as a proficient, or let's just say English speaker at a different level? What if I make it more professional, more academic in a much shorter time? And I am certainly very happy to forward this type of a message rather than me spending an hour and a half trying to convey a message that can be done with ChatGPT in seconds. So again, these realizations are out there for us to consider. And before we part, however, I need to make one cautionary asterisk, an end note here. Please make sure that whenever you interact with ChatGPT, you do not include students' names in you don't upload students information to the database. That's the FERPA regulation, and I'm pretty sure that's throughout the world there are limitations on these types of information and what can be disclosed, what can be talked about. So with that, I'm sorry. I will make sure that the presentation is available. It's going to be done with Fresno City College. We are all set. I apologize. I didn't pay attention to the clock as I should have. Please let me know. Any questions? Any comments? Anybody has anything to say as closing remarks? I'm starting the next class at the next session at 11, so I just would like to get something to drink. But other than that, you're always welcome to. Thank you, Philip, for your comments. For sticking on top of those links. I really staying on top of this. Really appreciate this. Okay, thank you very much, Tracy. Thank you, Doug. Already sounds good then. If you like, you're welcome to attend the second session at 11. I'll see you in a bit. Yes, Erin. Oh, yes, Erin. Now I see everybody. Please. You're muted. Sorry. Oh, you cannot unmute yourself? How is that? Oh, you know what? I will have to talk to. Okay, try it now.
Hi.
Yes, you're there. Excellent. Hi, Erin.
This session goes to 11. The next one is at 11:15, just so you know.
The next one is 11:15, not 11, right?
Correct.
Okay, then we have 10 minutes. That's not a problem. Super.
So I'm curious, are you using feedback fruits to have students get initial feedback on a draft of a paper?
Okay, so it actually could be at anything in between, in a sense that the sophistication, the level of expertise, or what it is that's expected of you as an instructor of record, that's still up to you. So it could be a very, very generic, very basic text, or it could be a very sophisticated one. So the level of engagement is entirely up to you as well. So the way this works is that, again, as I mentioned, you can upload pretty much any document, any type of file that's generated by the computer onto the Feedback Fruits platform, and then students can interact with it to the extent that you want them to articulate with this. So,
Right. I'm just wondering how you are actually using it. And I say this because we spent a couple months working with it and it was just too difficult. And so we have chosen to not really use it.
uh-huh, uh-huh,
Um,
right.
so I just wondered if it's actually implemented in production at Santa
Yep.
Ana College.
Yep. So first of all, that on the basics of most basic of levels, there is the text, right? So let's just say there is, a page consisting of 4 or 5 paragraphs. Students are supposed to identify certain ideas. So let's just say this is an idea tab. And students are going to identify what are the main ideas in each paragraph. I'm thinking of, beginning, thought development, and the end, maybe articulation, providing resources, what's the content of it? Then the next part would be something that has to do perhaps with grammar structure. So are there any specific sentences that you identify as reported speech, right? For my ESL class. And students are going to be giving me examples. Now, if you wanted to know, the third one would be sort of like critical thinking or new knowledge creation, right? If you wanted to know more about the topic, what kind of a question would you ask? And that's when students are going to be writing those questions. Again, it all happens in specific tabs on the margin. So the students see the text, and on the side they see all their comments, all their interaction. That's text. Now the same thing happens with videos. It's just that in videos there is this another dimension, which is then of time, right? Because the video is not everything at the same time like text is. There are certain marks, and again, I can identify those check marks throughout the video, and I want students to listen or watch the video to, let's say, minute 7, and then they are supposed to write a comment about it or ask a question or develop their thinking. So that's how that is. Now, on top of it, students are always allowed, they can always um, they can always interact with one another. So this is not only the again, it's not only for them to respond because I want them to, but now they are required, they are expected to ask others. So this is, all of a sudden it becomes this very, very rich conversation station, so to speak. To be honest, without any intervention on my end, if I choose to have it that way. So that's the bottom line. That again, this ownership of me, or my position as a faculty as the central to this, is just not there anymore. Does it make sense? So that's that. So again, with the tools as we have them, I think that this student agency is what we will have to focus our efforts in the long run. Because again, we can only tell them so much, but they are the ones who can. Oh, sorry. You know what? I can. Okay, there we go, Aaron. I apologize. I will speak to management about this because I thought I disabled the um this feature. So I'm glad you tell me that, because I definitely, yep, I definitely have it unchecked. So there's something that's going on. So you can talk now.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
And maybe we can just connect afterwards because like I said, we just struggled to figure out how to use feedback fruits. And again, we're talking about a fully online asynchronous environment so that it may not, there are many of their tools relate to more real-time synchronous learning that just didn't work for us. But what I'm struggling with is giving feedback on writing. And so any ways that I can find to help me sort of automate that, I would greatly appreciate it. Just like, grammatic structures, word choices, run-on sentences. I spend so much time giving that kind of writing feedback on an
I
individualized basis. It's just very time consuming.
Yeah. This is for English art specifically, ESL.
No, this is in business writing.
Oh,
And so
business writing.
theoretically, these
You know
students
what?
should have had
Yeah.
their writing foundations met, and they're just not
You know
prepared.
what? Check feedback fruits. No question. I mean, what you just said. I mean, I teach a synchronous ESL class. I never talk to the students via Zoom. I mean, I do. It's just that it's more of a, like an office hour rather than instruction for the whole class, like we are doing right now, right? That there's a whole bunch of them. So that's why I use feedback fruits, and for that reason, I mean, again, there is a number of tools there that will address that. Um, I mean, if you know the program, then you talk to them, right? I mean,
We like I said, we tried to implement it and we just couldn't. We couldn't get it to successfully read PDF files. We couldn't get it to do what we needed it to do to give that writing feedback. So we just really struggled.
wow. Okay, now again, you know that with ChatGPT, I mean, it will analyze those PDFs as well, right? ChatGPT will do it.
But that requires me downloading all of my students' papers from
Yeah.
Canvas
Oh, I know. I'm not
and
saying, I'm just saying that.
anonymizing them.
No,
So
no, no, no.
it's not saving me any time.
Right. No, I understand. I understand. I was talking about functionality, not necessarily to address the issue how to do it in your case. You
Yeah.
know what? I'm sure that feedback fruits. Again, if you tried and you failed, then I don't know. I mean, you talk to their tech support, right? Because that.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've been
Oh
working very
gosh,
closely with them.
and PDF, and they wouldn't read PDF files.
They've identified it as an issue. They're working on it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so maybe I don't know if I could, because okay. See, I am big on making sure that faculty, once they engage with those tools that I'm talking about, that their learning curve is next to nothing, and
Mm,
there's that it kind of like happens seamlessly, right?
yeah.
Because again, and unfortunately, many tools before AI, I mean, apparently even now, require a lot of energy when it comes to setup, making sure that it all works, and then once students get into this, it all goes out of whack. So we certainly don't want to do this. Erin, you're right. Maybe we should kind of like, touch base and see how we can make it work, because I certainly would be very, very interested in finding out how to make it work. Again, for ESL, the one that helps, gosh, I mean, maybe you could even try that, is Pace AI. I think that's oh yeah, Philip did put the link there. You can try them. I can put you in touch with them as well. I honestly, I thought that feedback fruits would do it. If this is an issue, then I can reach out to them and ask them about that as well.
All right. Well, I've taken more of your time. I appreciate
No, no,
it.
no. Are you kidding? I'm glad you caught me, because I thought I had to be done at 11. And then I want to make sure that people have a break to, get some, a drink or whatever. So I'll be back at 11:15, and we'll take it from there. So thank you so much again, everyone, for attending the session. Um, And I will, if you like, I will be happy to talk to you again at 11:15. Thanks. Take care. Until next time.